Well, good morning. This is Scott with the two Codys. It is God Talk Go Time. This is Serve with Purpose podcast. How you guys doing?
I'm doing really good. Today's a beautiful day.
It sure is. It's raining outside. But no, it's not really raining.
No, it's not supposed to rain today.
It's not supposed to day to rain? That's
day to
great.
rain.
Day to rain is not good.
Yep, and I really enjoyed my weekend. Our local church had they call it, Jesus Fest, to where a couple bands come out and we just play some music and praise and worship. And
Jesus Jam or Jesus Fest?
It's Jesus Jam. You're right.
It is.
Jesus
I love Jam.
That's
I
what
love
it is.
Jam.
But yeah, like I said, I think we had like 25, 30 people come out and just play, and I think we played for like 6 or 7 hours yesterday.
Wow, I'd still be in bed. That's what happens when age gets to you guys, and you get to stay in bed. That's good. I've been out there one time, and I tell you, that's a lot of fun. That's great. You know, I'm doing good. We're staying busy. Obviously, it's beautiful outside. We're starting to do more yard work with the animals. We have a couple of dogs that like to get out there and Cody Ross, like getting your area up there, make sure their coons are staying in control.
Yeah, I gotta keep them coons out there because they mess with all my deer hunting. They eat too much food for my deer, so.
Yeah, they like my chickens too. I think they flirt a lot with my chickens. So, but anyway, so yeah, it's been great. But I tell you, we are glad that you listeners are here. And we are hoping that you guys are having a great weekend so far. And but we are ready to talk today. We're going to talk about foundations and the heart. We're going to talk about those two things. We have a little discussion before we record, and we have some pretty good discussions about when we get into the topic and we prepare, and it's been pretty fun.
I don't think you should make them think that we really prepare.
You come with like a book of stuff, and me and Topman, we just we sit over here and go, we're ad-libbing.
Yeah.
So, but that's great. But it's all good here. It's all real good. As a new Christian, Cody Ross likes to really dig in, and that's really great because that's really putting his roots in. We talked last week about how the roots get down in, and some of the roots, the seeds go onto the rocks and it blows away, and just the different things. And he's really rooting himself good here, and that's awesome to see. Seeing young men like that. Cody Topman, he is a weathered family man. He is, he looks about 95.
They can see our pictures now, so
crap, that's me.
When we first
95.
started this thing, they couldn't see our picture when we first started, so I
was going to let you have it.
Okay.
He threw you under the bus.
I'm the cup. So yeah. But today we're going to talk about foundations and the heart. And but it's really a great topic when it comes to new Christians, and that's why I'm excited that Cody came together and was put a lot of stuff together about the heart. And what I want to do is I want to cover how, as a new Christian, as Christians, we have to, even as Christians, we've been Christians for a while. It's important to get back to the foundations, and we struggle sometimes by getting so deep. And I have so many conversations on Facebook with people who want to get so confusing about the Christianity and to make it so difficult and ask questions that are so misleading to new Christians. And I struggle with that so much. And I think that's where I have to really come to God and ask, God for forgiveness a lot, because I get really frustrated with people like that. And then I start feeling responsible. Do I let it go? It's their page, but it's coming across my feed. I'm responsible. So I think a lot has to do with where we are in our foundation of Christ. And I'm going to explain this. I explained it before, but I've explained this before. But one of the things that is really important is having the solid foundations. Foundations, your house is only as good as the foundation that it sits on. And it's no different than us. Our character is only as good as the foundation that we live by. You see people out there that, they just rock, man. Their family's great. Their wives know they love them. The kids hang on their father, and they have all the patience. And as a man, we want to be that godly man. We want to be there. We want people to see us and say, that person loves their family. That person loves God. That person loves his life. He is honest at work. That's because his foundation that his character sits on, his life sits on, is solid. And so that's what I want to talk about, how our Christian life, how Christianity has to have that solid foundation. And so here, we're going to talk about a couple things. But first thing, the foundation is you have to have that cornerstone. And in life, the cornerstone, or in our house, in any house, the cornerstone has to be based on where you want things to face. Where's the lighting? Where's the front of the property? Where's the backyard? Where's the hill? Where's the view? When you wake up in the morning, you're brushing your teeth. Is there a window in front of you? You know what I'm saying? So what do you want to see? So everything, that foundation has to be laid out exactly how you want the whole house to be sitting. So how your life in a Christianity sense, and how your Christ living is to be, you need to make sure that foundation is set perfectly. And so our foundation is Christ. We know that he is our solid foundation. So it's really important to make sure that we have that solid foundation and that it's set perfectly.
Yeah, I think the issue that we run into, though, is that when we're born, though, is our hearts are keen to evil, and the Bible's very clear that we're all born sinners, and we all have fallen short of the glory of God, and we can't ever reach that gap on our own. And so what I kind of wanted to talk about today was about how you're born with that heart that is just not, tuned into God, and how we move from that, having that heart, to having the foundation, the good solid foundation that, we're talking about building a good life on. And it all when the Bible, all of the sin starts in the heart, and Jeremiah 17:9, Jeremiah says, "The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it?" And so it's from the heart that our whole being flows out. I think that we kind of have this weird image of a heart. I mean, some people think of that little, the little heart, symbol, and or some people go all medical and think of what your heart looks like. But when the Bible talks about the heart, what it kind of means is, the way I like to picture it is, you have a big battleship, okay? And you have all different... You were in the Navy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Started out that way, but you're right. We've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God.
Yeah.
I got saved and went to the Army.
Yeah, that's much better.
I'm kidding, by the way. I'm kidding.
But, all of us know on a ship, you have a lot of essential people. It's you have the engineers, you have the maintenance men, you have the radio operators, you even need the kitchen staff. You need the people who are cleaning, and so everybody's a part of that. But there is a captain, and imagine our heart as that the bridge of that ship, and all those people working in there, and then there's one captain sitting in the seat. And that's kind of how our, if you can imagine our heart in the Bible, that's how it's described, is that all those people in the bridge of that room that's our consciousness, our will, our intellect, our character, our emotions, our feelings, and our thoughts. But we need a captain has to sit on the chair of our heart and direct all of those aspects of our mind, our consciousness, our will, our intellect, our character, our emotions and feelings and thoughts. And the problem is that when we're all born, our foundation, the captain of our ship is ourselves, or we put money, in the captain's chair. Everything about our lives is then seeking about money. So our consciousness is affected by, we're gonna let go of our consciousness and let go of our intellect, and we're gonna lie and cheat and steal because money is on the captain's seat of our heart, and or lust, or gossip, like talking about people to fill your time. There's you yourself, just your own personal, making your life more simple and easy. But that chair was the captain's chair of our heart, was only designed for God, and we have to evict anything else that's sitting on the captain's chair of our heart, and because that's God's rightful place. And when God's sitting on the captain's chair of our heart, then we can have that foundation that we can lead lives that are pleasing to God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what you're in 1 Peter 2:7, what you're referring to with people who want to be that captain and be the, it says in 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 7, it says, therefore to you who believe, he is precious, talking about Christ. But those who are disobedient, the stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. So when we reject that captain, we're rejecting that chief cornerstone. Mm-hmm. And so that foundation, that cornerstone that we talk about, that first stone that we put out there is the most important part. We're rejecting that. It's like saying, I'm going to let you be the driver, God, but I'm going to tell you where to go. Mm-hmm. So it just doesn't work that way. So so I love it how you're putting that.
Yeah, in Matthew chapter 15:19, and Jesus himself says, for out of the heart comes evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false testimony, and slander. So it's out of the heart. It's out of the heart that it comes. Go ahead.
Yeah. I like where you said about, your conscience, to where a lot of times you'll see people that, have the wrong people in the captain's chair. You see these rich celebrities, still doing drugs. You see these rich celebrities, committing suicide because even though they have, they have that lust for power, they have that lust for money, something's still missing. They're missing that cornerstone in their heart. They're missing, there's always that empty feeling that there's something missing out of them. And, you see it a lot of times with, people that, you might see other people, and look up to these celebrities, that have all these nice worldly objects, but in the, deep down, they're not happy.
No, you're right. They're not. And we think the money and the popularity, we think, man, wouldn't it be good to be a star and to have all this popularity, people running to you asking for autographs, and if you talk to them one-on-one, they don't feel that way. I mean, maybe they did at the beginning. Some of them actually did say, yeah, it was really cool at first, but it's not. It isn't. And that money brings a lot more pain than what people realize. Mm-hmm.
Because anything else that's on the captain's chair of your heart that's not God is never going to satisfy. And that's why, like you said, like these celebrities, there's people who, us normal people who don't have money would say, well, if I just had the money, I would be happy.
Yeah.
But then how do we explain, people committing suicide when they have $500 million, $1 billion in their bank account? Like it's there, accessible. They can do whatever they want with it, and they're still committing suicide. So obviously, it's not money that can ever fill the captain's chair of our heart. Money cannot be your chief cornerstone, is what we're talking about here, and that goes for anything else. Anything that's not God is an idol. So we can spend days in the Bible going through idols of us having things that take the place of God in our heart, and none of it ever satisfies, and our minds will never be content. I think I said last week that, God is never going to let us have peace if we're having things other than himself in the captain's seat of our heart.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that's the one thing nice is he's always, even though if he's not that captain in your captain's seat, he's always there still fighting for you, fighting for that seat.
Yeah.
And that's where, the conscience rolls in that I think, when something in your head saying this ain't right, I think that's him there sitting there fighting for that seat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's good to be able to distinguish that voice too, because on the other side, when you're doing right, you have that other voice saying, "Yeah, should he really be doing that?" It doesn't really sound like that. I mean, if he did sound like that, it'd be odd, wouldn't it? But
yeah, and I think that's why we need to be hanging out with people who have Christ as the captain's chair of their heart, as the chief cornerstone, because in Luke. And we should be able to see who that is, because in Luke 6:45, Jesus says, a good man brings up good things that are stored up in his heart, but an evil man brings up the evil things that are stored up in the heart. For out of the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. So, we can look around to the people around us and we can say, hey, they're bringing up good, Christ-like things out of their mouth, and they're not, speaking nonsense. They're not, acting in ways that are not pleasing to God. And so we need to be hanging out with people that are bringing up showing the good of having Christ as their chief cornerstone in their heart.
Yeah, very good, and that's part of the foundation too that we're going to get into here in just a minute. And the foundation is the first part of knowing how to set that foundation. And what I like to do is talk about go with that first corner of that. If I can do that now, that first corner of the foundation is that one-on-one communication with God. Because without that one-on-one communication with God, we're not having that relationship. That relationship is probably the most important part of the entire foundation. You put that cornerstone there, then you have to determine now what kind of relationship you're going to have with Christ. What kind of relationship? Is it going to be a semi-relationship? Or listen, I'll tell you what, you don't follow me out here, we'll just have this relationship here. That's not going to work. That's like cleaning your house and shoving everything into one closet, or putting it under the carpet. I love the thing where they say, well, if the dog craps in the floor and you just cover it up with a paper towel, the crap is still there. It still stinks. And that's what happens whenever you shove everything in the closet. It's still there. It still stinks, So it's important that when we set that foundation and we put that cornerstone there, that we are relying on the chief cornerstone, which is Christ. Christ is the chief cornerstone. We have to give him everything. There was a story that I heard it used to be on a commercial. I loved the commercial a long time ago. It said, where the guy says, God says, hey, do you love me? And the guy says, I do love you. He says, well, I want you to give me everything. He says, everything? He says, I want you to give me absolutely everything. He says, well, what do you mean? He says, okay, I want you to give me your job. So, well, God, you get my job. He says, well, how am I going to pay for my house? Give me your job. Okay, so he gives him his job. He says, now I want you to give me all your money. He says, all my money? He says, well, I give you all my money. I'm not going to have anything. Give you everything, all my money? So I'm not going to be able to have anything. That's my savings. You just took my job. Now you're going to want my money? So he says, oh, okay, God. So he gives him money. He says, now I want you to give me your family. Wait a minute. I'm going to give you my family. This is weird, God. Now why am I giving you I want you to give me your family. And he goes on. He argues a little bit about it. He goes, okay, God, I trust you. I'm giving you my family. And then God says, here, now I want you to take care of them for me. And that's what we're doing. We take things so oddly. We don't understand because we don't have that relationship. We don't understand what he's doing because we don't have that relationship. We go to him in our own thought process. We don't go to him understanding what he wants. So when we say we're giving him everything, that sounds like a Hare Krishna. Am I going to go to the airport, shave my head, play a banjo? Banjo. That's not a banjo. That's a tambourine. Okay. Obviously, I don't know how to play a banjo.
That's your fist.
That's my fist. Okay. Gotcha. So the whole point is that we have to have the relationship before we really know what we are. What he wants from us. So when he says, I want you to give this to me, he gave it to us in the first place. All he wants us to do is take care of it for him. Everything he gives us, everything we have is his. And all he asks is that we just take care of it.
Yeah.
And this, we got to look at it from the beginning. So that's why the foundation of our life has to be based on the foundations of where of solid foundations of where he wants us. And so the first thing in that foundation has to be that one-on-one communication with God, having that importance of that relationship, that importance of that quiet time. If you don't have time for the quiet time, first of all, make it. Until you make it, until you can figure that out, talk to him on the way to work. Talk to him as you walk from your desk to the restroom. Talk to as you're eating. Pray before you eat. Do things in that time. Make that time. There are times when you're thinking about stuff that's stressing you out. Make it that time that you talk to him.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, but God wants us to be stewards over everything that he's given us. And I think that sometimes what a lot of us do and why we don't give it to God is that we think that we've earned all of this stuff in our life. And that is my job. That's my money. That's my family. I put in all the hard work, and we live in this earning and deserving lifestyle. And that's the lifestyle that we're all born with. That's the world system, is the earning and deserving system. But that's not how God's kingdom works. God's kingdom is a believing and receiving. You see how I did that? Earning, deserving, believing, receiving. Okay. Well,
okay. Anyway,
I don't think we're allowed to do that in the middle of the podcast.
All right. But we do have a recording of that, by the way.
We do.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll post it one day.
Yeah.
But God's system is a believing and receiving system, and God calls us to be good stewards over everything that he's given us. And I think that if we didn't think that we earned it and we don't think that we deserve it, then we're going to take care of it a lot better than we normally would. Because, like you said, when we believe and we receive it, we want to be a good steward, a good manager of that stuff that is given to us. Because, I can't even go to work because, what if God would have made me without two hands?
Yeah.
What if I only had one hand or no hands? Or, what if I had a limp? I was born with a bag. But God made me in the womb, and he gave me, 2 hands. He gave me 2 feet, and, blessed me with some good height and a good strong back to lift heavy stuff so that I can work. And so it's not that I earned my money from my job, because I didn't give myself 2 hands. I didn't give myself 2 feet. I didn't tell my cells in my body to make sure that I'm 6'2" so that I can run real fast or whatever. I didn't do that. It was God that knits us together in the womb, it says in Jeremiah. So it's just that we need to understand where everything we have comes from, and how we can have Christ as our cornerstones, that we can be good managers and stewards over everything he's given us.
Yeah, and you just utilize the tools and the strengths that he gives you, and then you try to, if you have him as your foundation, you're trying to reach other people with those tools that he gave you. Me and Mr. Hudnall, for an example, and you, I keep forgetting that you work with at Youth Risk Boys also. One of the strengths and tools that he gave us is just caring about people, loving people. And, those are tools that, as time went through, we figured out, this is something God gave me that I can help other people. So I love where you went, that God is the one giving you the tools. It's our responsibility to go out and utilize the tools.
Yeah, I think the next thing that I wanted to go into was, earlier we were talking about how our heart and what we're born with is not what is pleasing to God. And so we need heart surgery, and we need our evil heart taken away, and we need a cornerstone that's pleasing to God. But in our luck, God has a good tool for heart surgery. He's very, very precise with it. Hebrews 4:12, it says, "For the word of God is alive and active, sharper than any two-edged sword. It penetrates even to dividing the soul and spirit, joints and marrow, and it judges the thoughts and attitudes of our heart." So the Word of God is the heart surgery tool. That's what we use to trim all the evil stuff, all the stuff that we're not being good managers of in our life. It's the Word of God that is the surgery tool. If you were to say on the evil things in our heart, the evil heart that we're born with, and God, we have to allow Him to, like the Bible says, circumcise our hearts. Allows Him to cut away the evilness, and that's also what Jesus is talking about when He says, take up your cross daily, which we've mentioned that verse many times in this podcast. Take up your cross daily. Cut that stuff out of your life that is not pleasing to God. God does heart surgery, and you need to have that heart surgery to have Christ as your chief cornerstone.
Yeah, and that leads us into the second part, the second corner. First corner obviously is that one-on-one relationship, that personal time, the prayer time that you have with Christ. The second thing is the Word of God, is getting that heart surgery, reading the Word, getting in the Word, because there's going to be a time in your life you're not going to be able to do that. There could be. Mm-hmm. A lot of people that never have that. It's really important that we are in the Word to be able to be familiar with God. One thing that I talk to a lot of Christians that are, especially are newer, that don't know a lot about the Bible. They feel like they're inadequate. We talk to a lot of people who are addicts the same way. Hey, I'm only got a month clean. These people have got a year, 2 years, 6 months, whatever. And I feel like I can't really add anything. The fact is if you have 1 day clean, the guy that just used, you got experience to encourage someone. And a lot of times in a Christian life, just when we turn ourselves over to Christ and we say, wow, this is the decision I need to make. I feel something powerful. Something has been replaced. That hole has been filled. We have something that we can share. We have something we could share with others. And so that is really important in our lives to be able to say, okay, I don't have that scholar, I'm not a biblical theology, I'm not into that, but at the same time, or maybe you just don't like, maybe you're not a reader, but at the same time, I can tell you this is what God's done in my life. You can actually witness to what God's done in your life without the knowledge of but it's just so important to get in the Word and see what God is telling you. And that's really important. So I encourage people who are new to Christ, or who struggle with learning, who struggle with reading, if you're there, don't be discouraged about getting in the Word and reading and studying. Don't be discouraged with that, because you are just as important as the person who's got the doctorate degree, because you have an experience that non-believers have. You have an experience of love of Christ that entered into you, and you've accepted Him. There's an experience there that you are going to have for eternity. And people that aren't saved aren't going to have that. And you could share that and be able to help someone to get to that same spot. You don't have to have the education. But I can tell you this, there's a lot of ways to receive the Bible. There's Bibles on tape, there's Bible, every computer will read anything, any document to you, so they'll read it to you. There's so much. You go to Bible studies. There's men and women out there that have studies that are willing to share the Bible and certain things. I can tell you all three of us have different beliefs, and some things that we'll say, some of us may not agree with in different ways. So we all have different beliefs and different things that we can take or leave, but we still love each other. Unlike politics, you're a Democrat or you're a Republican? Nah, you're not my friend no more. So we don't have to do that. As a Christian, we love everyone. In fact, the last commandment the new commandment that Jesus gave us on the night that He was betrayed said, I'll give you a new commandment. Love everyone as I've loved you. And, you think, well, Jesus, yeah, what kind of guy was He? I can't believe He was such a con artist. Hey, man, this guy gave us everything. He loved us. He healed. He he had so many things he did. There was nothing bad that the man did, and they crucified him for it, for stating who he was. And it is so odd. So even people who don't agree or don't believe can look at what he did and see that he was crucified for what he did was just basically claiming to who he was, and can find nothing wrong with why he was crucified. And it's so difficult to see how people can be so mean and cruel to other people, and turn around and still say, I don't believe in this. I just don't understand it. But then again, I used to be there. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? So I say that now because I've had that experience. So.
Yeah, I think something that helped me a lot, because when I first became a Christian, it wasn't like a slow, like, let me work into this. It was like, hey, I really need help right now, and I'm trying to go to this church once a Sunday, and I'm not getting all the answers I wanted in as fast as I wanted them. And I also didn't know personally a lot of people who had all those answers. And one resource that I really enjoyed, because, if you don't know anything about the Bible, even if you kind of grew up in church, but you still don't understand a lot about the Bible, it's really hard to open it and read it, especially for me. You guys might not think otherwise, but I was never a reader. I read a lot now, but I was never a reader. I read like really, really slow. I don't understand it, and the Bible was hard for me to understand. And so one resource that I really, really, really enjoyed was a page on YouTube called The Bible Project.
Yes.
And I'm glad you guys know. Yeah. So The Bible Project on YouTube, they are a great, 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 great resource. Two very, very intelligent guys. They have the whole team, but two guys speak, and they really break the Bible down to make it in chunks to make it easy to understand. So they have videos about the purpose of the whole Bible, and then they have videos about just the Old Testament, about understanding the Old Testament, understanding the New Testament. Then they actually have videos about breaking down every single book in the Bible,
and stories. And the stories are that they're all done artistically, so they do it in art. And it helps it. And I'll tell you, these guys have been attacked. So many lies have been put out there about them that aren't true.
Yeah.
And so I challenge you that look at the context, look at the content, feel the content. Don't listen to attacks and that. Oh, this person is this way. This person believes in this. This person. Look at the content. The content is what's most important. These people are good people. They do a great thing.
Yep.
So I'm glad you brought up the Bible Project.
Yeah, they have. If you're curious about what Jesus did on the cross, they have a video about that. If you're curious about why we're not Jewish, they have a video about why we don't just strictly follow the Old Testament. They have a lot of these videos about a lot of the questions that you might have, and it's put in short. They're 5-10 minutes at the most, and like you said, they're artistic. They're very informational, and they don't go all over the place. Like, they're just talking about one subject at a time. It's very easy to understand. It's something that helped me a whole lot.
Yeah, and that's a great example of, two guys utilizing the talents that God gave them.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm a visual learner. So to sit there and to read out of the Bible, sometimes it's, as you said, it's really hard to just regain all that information. But they tell it in like a story form that it's really, really easy to understand, and you're gathering that information that you might not have been able to understand otherwise. So, I mean, to me, that's a great example of two guys using the talents God gave them.
That's right. And which brings it to our next, we've only got a few more minutes here left, but we have the relationship with Christ. That's your first corner. Your second corner is the Word, getting into the Word, and just and the third corner obviously is being taught. Going to that church, finding those utilities to be taught. It says in Ephesians 4:11, it says, and He Himself gave some to be apostles, some to be prophets, some to be evangelists, some pastors, and some teachers. And those are important to understand that you have to, that these are people are here God gave these people, like you said, a calling, a talent to share and to help other people grow, to get that into them, and to be able to spread those words. So it's their responsibility. And James says, James says that I would teachers will be judged more critical. Mm-hmm. So there is a bad part about being a teacher, but the thing is a great accountability. I tell people that when I go to a job, I tell people, hey, listen, I'm a Christian. So, and I don't curse. So now I'm holding myself accountable. Mm-hmm. I want people to know that, if I'm cursing, I want you to remind me, hey, I thought you was a Christian, mm-hmm. and all, guarantee you non-believers are going to remind me, hey, So the whole point is that I want to be accountable. I want people to hold me accountable. Yeah. I want to be, if I'm getting ready to fall off a cliff, I want someone to say, yo, dude, one more step, you're about ready to take a dive. So that's really important to me, because to me, this Christian life is important to me. Yeah. So going to church is important.
And I think that it's important, even for us talking, is we don't want to just talk just to talks.
Yeah.
And we want to we try to be very careful, very, very careful about what we say, about putting out false information. We don't want to do that at all. And same with when you're looking for other resources to find out information, is you need to be discerning. The Bible talks a lot about discernment, and what that means is just to be careful about who you're listening to. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of it, and we live in a day and age now where there's just an unbelievable, unfathomable amount of information, but we as Christians are called to be discerning and to be careful about not all information is true. Not all information is 100% true. So just be very careful about who you listen to. But, another good thing, though, is that we live in a day and age where there is so much information. There's so many avenues for you to receive the Word of God. You can read the Bible for yourself, which is the best way to do it right in front of you. But if you're not very good at that right now, you can work into it by other ways. You can listen to pastors and elders at your church. You can talk to other just normal Christians that you know. You can listen to this wonderful podcast called The Serve with Purpose.
That's an awesome podcast. And I heard that older guy is one good-looking guy.
Luckily, he doesn't have very good eyesight.
Yeah.
And you can watch like the videos we were talking about. You can listen to sermons in your car. There's plenty of Facebook groups that you can join. There's just so many ways for you to get the Word of God. You can get the verse of the days. You can get your daily devotionals. You can get other Christian books. There's just so many ways for you to get to be able to be taught. So take advantage of those, and take your time to learn, to study, through many different avenues. But just be careful about who you're listening to. Go.
And I don't know how close we're getting to wrapping this up, but one thing I just wanted to say before it was, you get to pick where you set your foundation. You get to pick who's in the captain chair. That, it's important that you're making an active effort, that whoever you choose to be in that captain chair, you're letting him lead you. You're letting him, if he's telling you, hey, I want you to start a podcast with 2 of your friends and, try to reach people, you do it with all your heart,
Yeah.
He doesn't want half of you. He wants all of you.
That's right. Yeah, I like that. I want to go to the last thing, and that's one thing about great lead into this. I know you didn't know this, but,
we've been doing this pretty well.
Yeah, really. We're really getting this good. This ad-lib is working great. Cody has the best ideas, and there's 2 of you. Yeah. So anyway, by the way, it's double trouble. The thing that we lead into where you get to, like Cody brought out, hey, it'd be really nice to get a podcast, and and I'm like, man, dude, I've been trying to get a podcast together, so this worked out perfectly.
And then some guy moved in next door that
I know.
Just jumped right in.
He's been saved
at the perfect time.
3 hours, and then he says, hey, I'm kidding. It was 4 hours. I'm kidding. Anyway, so I'm kidding, but it's great, and so I invited the other Cody. Thought his name was Corey. Still call him that. And but anyway, but that's the whole idea with this last and final corner of the foundation is a fellowship. And you mentioned it earlier, and you just came to it's getting together with with
Christ-like,
like-minded people. Because if you get together with people who are using, you're going to use. You get the people who are drinking, you're going to drink. You get people who are cursing, it's going to come out. You're going to start cursing. It's just the way it is. So we all struggle. We all sin. Every day we sin. But I tell you, you want to be stronger. Hang around people who are stronger than you. But you know what? It's also important to get to some people and help them, bring them up. Get fellowship with like-minded people. Fellowship is so important. That's what I love about church. Because before church, you should have a fellowship. After church, you should fellowship. Hey, good to see you. Hey, we're getting ready to worship. Hey, you worship. And then after church, hey, it was great to see you. Hey, it was a great worship. You hang out in the parking lot, maybe go eat, or whatever the case is. Those are a great time. Fellowship. Meet in the middle of the week. Call each other. Hey, I got a prayer request. Hey, something happened. Hey, can you help me build this fence? You know what I'm saying? And, things like that. By the way, just a hint. I got a fence I need to build in the back. Anyway, the point is, I only need 2 guys, is that
I'll see what I can do to find you 2
guys. That hurts. But I guess the thing is it really is to have fellowship. And that fellowship is so important. Because, if you can't do nothing alone, you really can't.
Yeah, and it, if you really have God in your captain's chair of your heart, and God is your cornerstone of your life, and you love God so much, you're going to want to be around people who that is their passion. Their passion is God. And that's why we enjoy spending our time together, is because each of our more than any of our hobbies, more than any of the things we like to do, we love God. And when you really love God, you want to be around people that love God, because you know that everything is flowing to God, and it's okay if you have hobbies and things like that, but you find a sense of enjoyment out of being in fellowship with people who love Christ as much as you do. And the thing I wanted to close with is with the heart, with the foundation, is in Proverbs 4:23. It says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it.
That's right.
Everything you do, everything you are is flowing from your heart. So guard it. So it's okay to say no to certain things. If you have your Facebook feed and you got it open to anybody and everybody, and anybody can, you're scrolling down, and you got all these friends that you probably should have deleted a long time ago, and and you struggle with lust, and then that person posts a half-naked picture of somebody, and then now you have to battle that temptation because you didn't guard your heart against that. It's okay to do that. It's okay to say no to certain TV shows because they have things that they talk about that you struggle with. Guard your heart. Guard your heart, guard your heart.
Yep, and you got the foundation set up. We talked about making sure you find other like-minded people. You start to build that, structure around your foundation, and I think that's where it's important to surround yourself by people that have other talents.
That's right.
You talked about that what was the Bible. The Bible story, the Bible
Project?
The Bible Project, Those are 2 guys that have other talents than, what I have or what you may have, that, that might help strengthen that surrounding foundation around your, your structure. That, I think it's important that you find other people with other talents to help strengthen that.
That's right. That's good. You're absolutely right. I love it.
I didn't say it very well, but
you said it perfect.
Yeah, you said exactly. You got your point exactly across.
In fact, you couldn't have said it better than what you said it.
Truth.
Because then we have to go back, edit. It'd been really messed. I'm just kidding. No, that was really good. And that's what I love about this, is that we all are different people. We all have our own minds and thoughts, and God gives us different talents. And even the listeners that we attract, as people that we talk to on the outside that listen to this, we have some awesome people that listen to this, and they give some of the greatest feedback. And they say that we, even listening to us, they say, you guys, each one of you have such a different voice, different personality, and it's right. And that's the way you guys are as listeners. Listeners, you guys are each individuals. God made you individualized. You have your own thumbprint. You guys are thumb body, right? So you guys are individuals. So it's important for you guys to understand that God made you special for something. If you don't know Christ yet, this is the time to understand that God has a plan for you, and God knows what that plan is. You don't have to know right now. But if you get yourself ready and build that foundation, then God is going to have this wonderful thing worked out for you. And I want to tell you this, that when you build that foundation, the foundation is the most important part of your entire house. And then what do? We cover it up. We cover the most important part of the entire house, and we cover it up. And then we run electric to it. Some people have this, clap on, clap off, clap off. I don't know. They have the voice activated, turn the TV on, turn the lights down, and then you go, they have all that stuff. That's the heart. That's, they got that beautiful foundation that everything's wired to it. And that's what we are. We have to have that foundation. That foundation is inside. We should not be, it's not all about, I love shirts that say I love Christ on it. It's not about the shirts we wear. It's not about the pins of how many Bible study perfect attendance that we have in the Sunday schools, and it's not about all that. What it's about is our character. It's about how our foundations are. When people see us, do they see a man of God, or do they see somebody that's kind of, I'm not really sure what this guy's all about. They should see it in our actions. Christian means Christ-like. Christ-like. That's what it means. I want to be Christ-like. Every day I live to be more like God, more like Christ, not like God. He's really bright out here. I want to be like that. That's what I strive for daily.
Yep. So I guess we're all going to sign off.
Well, I don't know about signing. I don't think we want to write on the mic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so God bless you all. Thank you for listening today. And we just pray that you think about these things that we talked about today, meditating on. And I want to leave you with a song. A song. You should probably post it on the Facebook page today. Share like you did the last one. All right. And it is The Heart of Worship, Matt Redman.
Oh, yeah.
So going back to The Heart of Worship. So we'll post it on Facebook. Listen to it.
Yeah, that's crazy, because my sign-off was going to be surround yourself by praise and worship music. So, that's spot on and perfect.
Yep.
That is awesome. Yeah. I didn't even have a song, but, I could sing something if you'd like.
Go for it.
We're shutting the mic off.
Oh, yeah. That's painful. All right. Hey, guys, I really do appreciate you guys listening today. It's been awesome. We had a great time. Thanks so much for being part of this podcast. Please spread the word. If you have any questions, or you'd like to respond, or you have any ideas that you'd like to hear, topics, please let us know. Go to our email address at servewithpurpose3@gmail.com. That is servewithpurpose, the number 3, @gmail.com. I almost forgot there for a second. Or you go to our Facebook page, Serve With Purpose Facebook page there. And you can go there and would love for you to like that page. You were going to say something? Or you're just going to backhand me? You were going to backhand me. Yeah. Hopefully you go. Yeah. So you got that. But guys, listen, we really hope that you can turn and just, if you have a good foundation, we hope that you can really make it more solid. We hope you get into the Word. We hope your one-on-one relationship with Christ gets stronger. We hope that your heart is really a strong heart, and that God has already done that transplant.
And reach out to other people and help them rebuild their foundation.
Yes, get that fellowship going. Reach out to other people. Make sure you're church. A lot of people can do this online, and that's all they need. I just have a hard time with the church online thing. I believe you need people, and you can't do this yourself. If you are the guy that was on Castaway, and you're on an island and you're forced to do it alone, I believe you can do it alone. I believe God can be with you, right? But you're not Castaway. I don't think you are. You wouldn't be listening to this podcast. So anyway, guys, listen, we love it. We love you guys. Thanks for listening. This has been Serve With Purpose. God bless, and have a great, great, wonderful